you want to save big on dresses for every occasion, you gotta go to Ross.
Tonight, the miracle survivors, the jet that took off from Austin, Texas, crashing, the plane breaking in half, and tonight we are now learning there are several Americans among the survivors pulled from the wreckage. The images coming in now. Also developing tonight, the face-to-face meeting with Kim Jong-un. Will it happen after all? What President Trump is now saying tonight, saying there is a very substantial chance that it won't work out in early June. What changed? Also tonight, the female police officer killed in the line of duty, the arrests today, and this evening, how she was killed. A teenager behind the wheel, authorities say driving right at her, running her over. Authorities speaking a short time ago. From Hawaii tonight, this is the location where our team is standing by. And the new concern tonight, the lava closing in on a power plant. It could prove explosive, leaving thousands without power. We're watching severe storms at this hour from the Ohio Valley right into the Northeast. And a troubling tropical system headed right for the coast this holiday weekend. And tonight, the case making national headlines, the parents who took their 30-year-old son to court to try to get him out of the house. He had refused to move out. What the judge has decided.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. And we begin with that plane crash. The miracle survivors tonight, the plane taking off from Austin, Texas, then crashing, breaking in half during a landing in Honduras. The airport surrounded by mountains. That airport is known as one of the toughest for pilots to navigate. Tonight, it's believed everyone on board survived this, several of them Americans. ABC's Victor Akenda with the images coming in tonight.
Tonight, a miraculous story of survival in Honduras. The Gulfstream private jet cracked in two. Bystanders and rescuers racing to pull survivors from the smoldering wreckage, some trying to lift the door, others using fire extinguishers around the plane. Firefighters covering it with foam. The plane took off from Austin, Texas around 9:30 local time, attempting to land in Honduras' capital, Tegucigalpa, when officials say the plane went off the runway. 6 people aboard the plane, 5 Americans. Local reports say the Red Cross transported all 6 to a hospital. All are expected to survive. It's not clear what caused the crash, but Tegucigalpa's airport, surrounded by mountains, is notorious for being one of the most difficult to approach.
You could be too fast as you're coming down that hill, and if you land too fast and you don't have the airplane under control, it's not hard, as we've seen in numerous instances at this airport, to go off the end of the runway.
In 2011, a commercial airliner crashed while attempting to land here, killing all 14 on board.
Just stunning images coming in tonight. Victor Akenda with us live. And Victor, the U.S. Embassy is providing assistance already tonight?
That's right, David. The U.S. Embassy in Honduras now providing any assistance necessary, adding that their thoughts are with all of those affected. Not only did all 6 people survive, only 1 had to be taken away on a stretcher. David?
Just unbelievable. Victor, thank you. The other story we've been following all day long here, the new message from President Trump when it comes to that face-to-face summit with Kim Jong-un. The president sounding much more tentative about the whole thing. The summit appears to be on shaky ground tonight. President Trump himself casting some doubt today during an urgent meeting at the White House with South Korea's president. The president saying the plans are still moving forward, but the president also indicating that he believes something changed when the North Korean dictator traveled to China to meet with President Xi. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl on the new promises President Trump is now making to try to make this happen.
President Trump today greeted South Korea's president, leading him by hand into the West Wing to huddle about the summit with Kim Jong-un. A summit the president now says may or may not happen.
There's a chance that it'll work out. There's a very substantial chance that it won't work out, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it won't work out over a period of time, but it may not work out for June 12th.
It was the North Koreans who first raised the possibility of canceling, objecting to demands from the U.S. They give up their entire nuclear program before getting anything in return. Today, the president suggested he could back down from insisting that Kim gives up all his nukes at once.
It would certainly be better if it were all in one. Does it have to be? I don't think I want to totally commit myself, but all in one would be a lot better.
President Trump seemed to blame China for the complications, saying Kim Jong-un changed his tune after having a second unannounced meeting with the Chinese president.
I think there was a little change in attitude from Kim Jong-un, so I don't like that. I don't like that.
President Trump made it clear he is willing to offer a lot to North Korea's dictator.
I will guarantee his safety, yes. He will be safe. He will be happy. His country will be rich.
He says Japan, China, and South Korea will pitch in too.
They will be willing to help, and I believe invest very, very large sums of money into helping to make North Korea great.
The president has relished talk of the summit as a path to the Nobel Prize.
That's very nice, thank you. That's very nice. Nobel.
A military office assigned to the White House has already created a commemorative coin for the summit, referring to Kim as, quote, Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader John Karl from the White House tonight. And John, the president once said that when it came to North Korea and this summit, it was very simple, in the president's words, saying North Korea would have to, quote, get rid of their nukes before any benefits from a deal. But today we were listening, he seemed to move the goalposts a bit.
Well, the president said today he would still like to have what he called an all-in-one deal, but he certainly left open the possibility of accepting something short of that. And David, make no mistake, rewarding North Korea before it gives up its entire nuclear program would be a major concession.
All right, John Karl with us live from the White House again tonight. Thanks, John. There are also new developments tonight after that female police officer was killed in Baltimore County, Maryland. Tonight, authorities say a teenager ran her over. Officer Amy Caprio was the first female on the county force to die in the line of duty. She was called to the scene of a suspected robbery, and tonight several suspects are under arrest. ABC's David Curley is at the scene.
Officer Amy Caprio's alleged killer, a Baltimore 16-year-old, facing adult first-degree murder charges tonight of mowing her down with a vehicle. Prosecutors say Dante Harris was waiting in a stolen Jeep while 3 others allegedly burglarized a home. When Caprio arrives, the Jeep flees, but it's a cul-de-sac. The officer chases, exits her vehicle. Her body camera showing the Jeep accelerating, according to police, and striking her violently. Harris captured quickly. No stranger to police, charged with up to a half-dozen car thefts in 5 months, violating house arrest, called a one-man crime wave.
Did the system not work? It sounds like that it could have worked better in this particular case. This 16-year-old perhaps shouldn't have been out.
The nearly 4-year veteran officer leaves behind a husband. She was recently named Officer of the Month.
She was the kind of officer that was going to go up in this organization and lead at some time in the future. She would be a leader here.
Let's get to David Curley. He's with us live from the crime scene in Baltimore County tonight. And David, the teenager could face life in prison without parole, we know, if convicted, but so could his accomplices.
That is true, David. If they are charged with felony murder and tried as an adult, they too could face life in prison. David?
David Curley live in Maryland tonight. Thank you. Next, the new threat at this hour from the Kilauea volcano, a river of lava creeping closer to the island's power plant tonight. The results could be explosive, leaving thousands without power. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman live from the Big Island tonight. Matt, a dramatic scene behind you right there. We should let our viewers know that you and the team are at a safe distance.
That's right, David. We are at a safe distance away. And believe it or not, this is just one of several fissures like this, geysering lava 150 feet into the air. And one volcanologist I spoke to said that she has seen lava fountains before, but nothing on this scale.
Tonight, multiple fissures reactivating, pumping cascades of lava 150 feet high. Early this morning, the National Guard flying above that hellscape. The only way to capture the scope of it is from the air.
That is the highest thing on the landscape right now.
Right by that fountain of lava, the area's geothermal plant, supplying 30% of the island's electricity. We saw lava breaching the property. Officials say they've removed 50,000 gallons of flammable gas and are right now racing to cap a final well. In the helicopter, we follow those rushing rivers of lava to the ocean.
What's incredible is that when you fly right over those 2 rivers of lava down there, you can actually feel the heat being generated, 2,000 feet above them.
The air in the southern part of the island increasingly toxic.
And you can see what this wind is doing. It is kicking up all of this steam and sulfur dioxide. Now that's hazardous to breathe, and there are multiple times more sulfur dioxide in the air now than there were just a couple of days ago.
Families like Dee Navarez racing to evacuate their idyllic homes earlier this month, now returning home to this.
Wow, look at that scene. Let's get back to Matt tonight. And we know the lava is about 2,000 degrees. You've told us that already, Matt. So give us an idea of how hot it is for you and the team and the people who live nearby.
Well, where I'm standing, I'm going to take a thermometer reading on my back. It's about 125 degrees, kind of like a sauna where my crew is. It's about 100 degrees. And David, even from the air, a couple thousand feet up, we could feel the heat of that fissure. Now, volcanologists say that what you're seeing behind me could keep going for weeks on end here, covering much more of this island with this kind of thick volcanic crust. David.
Matt Gutman following this for days for us. Matt, thanks again tonight. We are also following several weather headlines tonight. The tropical system that could hit this Memorial Day weekend. But first tonight, the severe thunderstorm watch at this hour, actually from the Ohio Valley all the way over to the Northeast. 5 water rescues already in Albuquerque. 1 person killed there. Mudslides shutting down a highway in Gardnerville, Nevada tonight. The Southeast in the bullseye, cars underwater in Raleigh. Those images coming in. So let's get right to meteorologist Rob Marciano, who's been tracking it all day for us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, David. So much of this area has already seen a lot of water. Let's get to the severe thunderstorm watches posted for much of Ohio and through Pittsburgh. You're about to get hit. D.C. saw some strong storms. Richmond, you're in it till 9 o'clock tonight. Now, to the Caribbean. 40% chance of these storms becoming a tropical system over the next 5 days. By Friday, gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Uncertainty after that. But what is certain, heavy rain from Florida into the southeast, 3-5 inches of rain. This area already saturated, David.
All right, Rob Marciano with us tonight. Rob, thank you. President Trump taking aim at the Justice Department, the FBI tonight, saying that if the FBI infiltrated his campaign for political purposes, it would be a, quote, disgrace. But has the president provided any proof that that actually happened? Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega tonight.
President Trump today dialing up the outrage at the unsubstantiated claim the FBI may have used spies to infiltrate his campaign.
A lot of people are saying they had spies in my campaign. If they had spies in my campaign, that would be a disgrace to this country, and it would be very illegal, aside from everything else.
There is no evidence that actually happened. The president's growing anger stems from a New York Times report that claims as part of the 2016 investigation into Russian meddling, the FBI used an informant to question 2 Trump campaign associates about their contacts with Russians.
Some man got paid based on what I read in the newspapers and on what you reported. Some person got paid a lot of money.
Law enforcement experts say in reality, the use of such informants is routine. And that news report made no mention of spies infiltrating the Trump team. But that did not stop the president from tweeting an extraordinary edict. I hereby demand a new investigation into whether or not the FBI DOJ infiltrated or surveilled his campaign. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and FBI Director Christopher Wray summoned to the White House yesterday, Rosenstein ordering the Justice Department's Inspector General to investigate the president's concerns as part of an ongoing probe. In the president's crosshairs, Rosenstein, who just weeks ago vowed to stand his ground.
The Department of Justice is not going to be extorted. We're going to do what's required by the rule of law.
But today, President Trump refused to give Rosenstein a vote of support.
Do you have confidence in Rod Rosenstein?
What's your next question, please?
Cecilia Vega with us from inside the briefing room tonight. Cecilia, the American people were told before the election that the FBI was investigating Russian meddling. Legal observers say FBI informants would be fairly standard in that case. But as you report tonight, the president is now saying something very different here, saying there were spies inside his campaign potentially. Is the White House providing any proof tonight?
Well, David, none yet. And this is not the first time the president has raised this question about spies being in his campaign. He said it now a number of times. It's also not the first time he has peddled an unsubstantiated claim like this. Of course, you'll remember he said everything from President Obama was not born in this country to President Obama had Trump Tower wiretap, David.
Cecilia, stick with us here for a minute. There's also a breaking headline late today regarding Michael Cohen, President Trump's former personal lawyer, who was raided by the FBI and is under investigation. The New York Times now reporting tonight that a longtime partner of Cohen's in the taxi business has now taken a plea deal. Evgeny Friedman, who agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of tax evasion and promised to cooperate now with state and federal investigators. Friedman is a Russian immigrant. He's known as the Taxi King. So let's get back to Cecilia tonight. What could this mean for Michael Cohen?
Well, it could potentially mean more trouble, David. It remains to be seen. Friedman cut a deal and will serve no jail time in exchange for cooperating. Investigators could certainly use this to pressure Michael Cohen privately. Some close to the president have said that if